Well, this is Lake Serene, 2,521 feet up in the Central Cascades. It is 6:30 in the morning and we're about maybe 35 minutes past sunrise. I came up here this morning to hopefully catch some sunrise shots, and I wasn't disappointed. Got a little cloud action high on the ridge now, a little bit of sunrise color in the clouds. So I've already taken a few shots, but I'm going to check out some different compositions. The lake is mostly still frozen, but there's some interesting ice patterns here close to the shore. So let's see what I can do with the sunrise exposure and hopefully come away with a few images. Well, we're only at 2,500 feet here, but there's been snow at this elevation as early as just a few days ago, and the temperature right now is about 36 degrees Fahrenheit, or what is that, 2 degrees Celsius or 3 degrees. But I am getting some interesting atmosphere on the ridge with some clouds and some sunrise color. I do have a polarizer, and the polarizer makes a lot of difference. I'll show you here. If you spin the polarizer, you actually can really change the color of the sky. So this is without polarization, and this is with polarization. So it really makes a big difference, and it brings out a lot more detail. It also manages the reflection of the ridge in the ice and snow and water below. So for this composition, I'm taking advantage of the sunrise color, some clouds high on the ridge, and the rock in the foreground, focusing on the rock. And right now I'm at f11 and a half of a second exposure using a 3-stop hard edge neutral density filter. I don't need a soft edge because as the sun rises, it puts a distinct line across the ridge, and so I can manage that easily with the hard edge filter. Well, Lake Serene is about a 2-hour drive from my house. So sunrise this morning was at 5:55, and so to get here for sunrise, I had to leave my house at 2 o'clock. That put me at the parking lot at 4 a.m. And I left in the dark by headlamp, and had a pretty good approach. It's a 4-mile hike here to the lake. The first half is fairly gentle, but the second half is considerably steep. You actually switch back and ascend one of the lower walls. This prominence behind me here is Mount Index, again, which is due east of the City of Everett in the Central Cascades. It's just on the south side of US Route 2, and US Route 2 goes from Everett to Wenatchee and all the way across to Spokane, so it bisects the northern part of Washington State. But yeah, it was a great hike in this morning, a little bit of a workout. I got here just in time for sunrise, and actually on the trail in I was tempted. I saw the sun hitting the peaks behind me here, but I turned around and saw a beautiful composition looking to the east up at Stevens Pass with some beautiful alpenglow on the Cascade. So I did stop and take that picture. I'll show it to you now.
It's a lonely road to travel on. It's a heavy loss to be alone.
An alternate composition is looking more to the west, and still using this rock kind of as foreground interest. I've positioned this rock on the lower right third. I still have some reflection in the water. It's not a true reflection because, again, the lake is still mostly snow covered. It's the end of April, so as spring continues, this lake will be melting out, and I look for the ice to be gone in the next week or two, but still have some really excellent light on the ridge, on the index peak, Mount Index Ridge. So I'm toying with a few compositions. Luckily I did get some clouds to add some atmosphere and interest. Focusing on the rock. Right now I'm still at f11 and it's giving me a ½ second exposure. I'm going to take a few here and I'll show you which one I like the best.
Stone by stone, watch the flowers grow. I wanna build a home with you. I know
Well, I think I'll try a panorama. With the panorama, I've taken off my filters. They can really cause a problem when trying to stitch the images together. I'm in the software, and I don't have my large tripod, so unfortunately I don't have a bubble level on this one. They do make an accessory that screws in, and maybe I should get one. But I was able to make do. I used the electronic level in the camera. You want to go side to side to make sure you're level across the frame. You also want to make sure you're in manual mode, which I am, f11 1/30th of a second, because you don't want a different exposure for different images, or again, else they will not stitch together correctly. So, using a 2-second timer to avoid any shake, I'm going to go ahead and take these. So that about does it from here at the lake. I'm gonna pack up my stuff and head back down. As I said in the intro, it's about a 4-mile hike back to the parking lot. I did pass a small waterfall. There's actually a large waterfall on the way in called Bridal Veil Falls. But I elected not to go there because 1, it was dark, and 2, I wanted to get to the lake for the sunrise. So I don't think I'm going to stop there, but there is a smaller waterfall with a pool in front of it that I noticed with my headlamp coming in. So it looked like it may make for a nice intimate waterfall and maybe a reflection composition. We'll see. But yeah, we're well into the morning. It's about 7 o'clock now. So I'm done here. I'm going to head back down to that small waterfall. And what I don't have in golden hour morning light, maybe I can make up for in composition. So let's head back down to the small waterfall.
I wanna build a home, stone by stone, watch the flowers grow. I wanna build a home with you. I know I'm staying forever. No more lonely roads to travel on. Don't have to face the thought of being alone.
Back down to this little pool here with a waterfall. So I think the plan here will be a long exposure. No light to speak of, but hopefully with the long exposure and the lines in the waterfall, I can find a composition that works. Well, sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. So I used the 6-stop ND filter. That gave me an exposure time of 1.2 minutes, 1 minute 20 seconds. But when I looked at it on the back of the screen, really wasn't too impressed with it. This pool doesn't really have any motion in it. and so the long exposure, other than blurring the lines of the waterfall, really didn't do anything. And so I would rather have, I was actually happier, so I did a standard exposure, stopped down to f16, gave me a 1.3 second exposure. I think I like that one a little better. So I'm not going to win any awards with this picture, but I'm glad I stopped. If this pool had a more circular motion, I think it would have turned out much better on a long exposure. So that about does it. I'm almost halfway out. The 2 mile mark is up here at the top of this next ridge, and from there it's another 2 miles down to the parking lot. So hope you've enjoyed coming along to Lake Serene on this beautiful spring morning, and I'd like to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to join me in my pursuits and my adventures as a landscape photographer and continuing to learn, consider hitting that subscribe button. Appreciate a thumbs up if you like the video. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video.